Good morning. Here come the velociraptors. They think I have food for them. Okay, so there is a bit of a problem here in this corner. If you look at the drain that I put on the end of the drain spout, it is in the ground here, and then it goes up, flattens out, and then curves down again. There is a section right here where it got stepped on and it got crushed. There are a lot of things that I'm going to be doing here, but what I'm looking at is water flows. I think that the drain is plugged, and so the water is coming out here instead of here, and I'll have to check that. But this is the thing. First of all, there's water flowing down this way, same direction. Okay, it is not flowing up here. That's actually a sidewalk right there. You can see a bit of the sidewalk past the rooster. So it can't flow uphill. So it flows down here to this corner. And then it flows, it doesn't flow out. I originally designed these berms, those log berms, to catch the runoff from the downspout drain. Unfortunately, it appears that the runoff is not even going in that direction. Instead, it is all running, and even down here at the end, if you look, down here at the end of the drain, and I'll have to clean this out and do some maintenance stuff, but down here at the end of the drain, it is pooling here and then flowing downhill, down along the house. So I need to make some changes here. I've got some changes in mind, some things that I want to do. There's a mound. Let's take that down again. There's a mound right here. It flows around it, and it looks like there is also a runoff going right here, and then following that same path down along the house. I don't want the water to run down along the house, although it is not running right next to the house. It is flowing down away from the foundation. I don't want it right there. I want it to flow out and where the plants can use it. This area along the house, I wanted it pretty well empty. And I have plans for this area. I have things that I want to do, but right now everything that's growing up there is basically a weed. So I created these log berms, and they are not doing their job. So I want to do a couple of things. First of all, I did those berms on contour. So if I extend the berm in this direction to where the water is flowing, it should catch it. There are this out of the way. And this is trial and error. I'm trying different things to see if I can work out. See, when I did the drain, I took it out far enough that I thought that the water would flow off toward the berm. But unfortunately, it does not appear to be doing that. So I need to take some action. The problem that I run into, we walk over here, I have things growing along the other log berms. You may not be able to see it, but there's a plant right here. There was a plant over here, but it died, and I'm not sure why it died. It was getting plenty of water. It is entirely possible that it was getting too much water. But if these berms are not fulfilling their purpose, then I can use the logs elsewhere. So I am going to I'm going to take one of these. We'll just start here at the end of the, or maybe we won't. There we go. Okay. The thought was that eventually these would break down and we would have, I don't know if you can see that. Let me see. You can sort of see it. There is shelf fungus on the end of the log. So apparently that is getting a great deal of water. It's just not getting what I thought it would get. So anyway, there is a plant right here that is a currant. There is what I believe is an American plum right here, I think, behind that. Right here. This was planted. And so I'm going to take this log and use it to extend the berm here. This berm, I will extend it over to here and then curve it up to the corner of the house so that it creates a funnel. There is, as I said, there is a mound right here, which is going to take it off of contour. But I think if it can guide the water down, we may be able to actually use this for its intended purpose. So I'm going to restructure this berm to go in a U shape up to the corner of the house. And then the logs in the second berm and the third berm to some extent, but specifically the second one, are going to have to be put to other purposes. I will use that to extend that berm. There are plants, there are things planted in here. These logs, whoa, doesn't want to move. The other one didn't want to move either, which I can understand because it's only been there for 3 years. Should we see if the birds find the new spot? Anyway, if I remove this berm here, or pieces of it, and I'll go over that. If I pull this out, I'll be able to get in here to mow, which right now I can't do. But with all the things that are planted along there, it gets tricky. So for now, I'm going to leave the logs in certain areas to mark the plants that are growing. Once they get big enough, I'll just be able to mow around them. But I haven't been able to get in here to mow since I put those log berms in. So I want to at least get rid of this one in the center so that I can get in here to mow. But hopefully able to restructure the berm on this end. And I don't know, I'm not going to touch that. Not right now, because I'm going to need more. I'm going to need something else to deal with that. Let's see. Let's pull. Yeah, this one right here. there. Okay. And find another one. Let's see. So those two both have something next to them. This one. Work. Oh, it's slippery. It's slippery and it has started to rot down. So that's a good thing. Okay. So I think we've got. So the next rainstorm will have to tell us how that works. I'll have to come out here during the rainstorm and see. One of the reasons that everything is skiwampus and has shifted around is because the wood chips that I put up here have all started to break down. The chickens have mixed them into the soil. So there is, I'm going to move this. Not right now. Let's see. I don't want to risk any of the stuff that is actually growing in here because there's so little of it. Most things that I have put in here, I have become very, very good at killing plants. We can put it that way. Okay, so let's turn this around. And I moved that first log, but there are things growing there. So I want to make sure, and I'm going to do this a different way, because I put it right there, because there's a plant right here, and there's a plant right here. But that middle section, that will have to go, and these two can go, and then the next rainstorm will show me whether my altered plan is working. This middle one absolutely is not catching anything. The first one might be catching a little bit, although I came out during the rainstorm the other day and I did not see any water flowing toward that first log berm. This second one is not doing anything at all. But let me show you this. Look, log. Okay. All right, I have a pit over here that basically I dug out 500 or so pounds of rocks. And during the rainstorm, that filled up. So it might be possible to do another ephemeral pond right there, because obviously the water is flowing this way. Now there is some flowing downhill, but that filled up. It's now dry. All of this is uphill, and I'm not seeing any. Just checking to see how wet. Okay, so it's wet down here, so the flow is apparently going this way. Now, this is what I was, this is the third, this is the last berm here. It's the last berm in the sequence. Let me come over here so you can actually see what's going on. Okay, now This one, I believe, is still catching some runoff. There are a number of different things. Number one is the pit right here. It completely filled up. The grass around the edges of that pit is greener. And then the green goes down along the berm. And way down there at the bottom, you can see a green stripe going across. So I believe that this one is catching some runoff. Not necessarily a lot, but it is catching some runoff, enough to keep the plants that are along this berm alive. This is the one where most of the plants, not most of the plants, but the most plants have survived. So if we come down here, you can see that green stripe, and we'll keep even with that green stripe. Okay. And this right here is the end of the log berm. So the water, it looks like the water is flowing this way. So it comes along this side, it looks like it's hitting this side of the log berm and then coming around that way. So I will need to do some more work here, and then this particular berm I think can be left in place. I don't think that the logs, although the logs are breaking down based on what we saw with that other one, I don't think that this berm is catching what it could. I'm not sure that the logs are a viable option. I was hoping that they would break down and then I would be able to put more wood on top. Okay, so this is after about 3 years. It's soft. This is hard. This over here is soft. It's got insects. It's got fungus. So obviously it is staying wet, but it is not improving the soil enough to allow things to grow. So we'll kick that one back over, or not. The breakdown, what I should have done, and I didn't because I had extra wood, was do a wood chip berm rather than a log berm. The wood chip berm probably would have been broken down by now. I can still do that and just put wood chips over the top. I'm just thinking out loud, trying to figure out what's the best way to catch as much water as possible. And the ephemeral pond at this point seems to be doing the job. But again, you look up here, and along the berm is greener. Even if you're considering that this side has been mowed and this side really hasn't, you can see in between the green stripe that goes up along the log berm. So it is maintaining a little bit of water retention, but nowhere near as much as I thought it would. This one will stay in place. I'm going to remove the center one, but I'm going to have to do something to protect the plants that are already there so that they don't get mowed, or the velociraptors don't decide to play with them. Okay, so that one needs to be revamped. Needs to be reconsidered. All right, and it took about, the ground was drier than normal because it took about 48 hours for the ephemeral pond to empty. So we have this structure up here. Okay. We have a group of, whoop, okay. Hold on.